has skills that nobody else has ever had.
Ovechkin scores! What a bomb!
He scores! John Tavares!
This is one of the best defensemen in the National Hockey League.
Bird scores!
Yossi scores!
That's just top-notch goaltending by the best goaltender in the world.
They score! What a goal! Snap show continues. Wow!
He very well could be at number one. You could make that argument.
Hello, Canada, and welcome to TSN's countdown of the top 50 players in the NHL. And happy anniversary to Dave Poulin, Craig Button, and Mike Johnson, because this is our 10th straight year of doing this event. You'll all receive commemorative, I don't know, powder puffs or something. Here's how we do this. All of the TSN hockey analysts vote. They compile their own top 50 list. We put it all together, do the math, and somehow reach a consensus, although we use the term consensus loosely because everybody will be unhappy about certain placings, as I'm sure you will be unhappy. Here's the one thing to remember. This is a projection, who we think will be the top 50 players this year in the NHL. And with that, we begin the countdown. Number 50, Matt Barzal. The 2018 Rookie of the Year may have suffered from the sophomore jinx in his second year, but he still collected 62 points and remains among the game's most exciting players.
He answers right side with a pass to the net. He shoots. He scores! Matt Barzal!
Number 49, Jamie Benn. Dallas's captain scored at the second lowest rate of his highly decorated career, but is clinging to a place in the top 50 for the 8th straight season. Number 48, Evgeny Kuznetsov. To go from Stanley Cup champion in 2018 to testing positive for cocaine at the World Championship in 2019 is a spectacular fall from grace by any measure. How will 2020 be remembered for Kuznetsov? Number 47, Sean Monahan. Career highs in goals, assists, and points last season make the point-a-game player an authentic center of attention. Number 46, Matthew Tkachuk. Calgary's heartbeat forward has seen his point rate go up and penalty rate go down over an eventful first 3 seasons in the NHL. Number 45, John Carlson. Washington's blue line general has posted back-to-back career-high point totals and leads all defensemen in power play assists the past 2 seasons. Number 44, Vladimir Tarasenko. The St. Louis sniper keeps exclusive company. Only 2 NHLers have scored at least 30 goals 5 consecutive seasons, Tarasenko and Alex Ovechkin. Number 43, Alex Pietrangelo. The Blues captain and 2019 playoff assist leader saved his absolute best for last, scoring what would be the Stanley Cup winning goal on a brilliant backhander.
Around in front, score! Pietrangelo with 7.9 to go in the period.
Number 42, Jonathan Huberdeau. The 2011 number 3 overall pick had a breakthrough season at 25, hitting 2 important scoring thresholds, 30 goals and 90 points. Number 41, Roman Josi. The greatest Swiss NHLer ever marks his 5th straight appearance on the list of the NHL's 50 greatest players. All right, let's review 50 through 41. 2 players with precipitous declines in what amounts to the TSN stock market. Kuznetsov plummeting 29 places, Benn dropping 25. There are 11 players either new to the list or returning after an absence of at least 1 year. Among them, Flames first-timers Matthew Tkachuk and Sean Monahan. Craig, which of the consecutively ranked line mates is more central to the Flames' fortunes this year?
Matthew Tkachuk. You know, we talk about his productivity going up, his penalty minutes going down, but his impact continues to increase, and it's significant on the ice. When he steps out on the ice, the opponents know he's out there, and he makes a difference in the game. They had Jerome McGinley as a captain, followed by Mark Giordano. I mean, what an unbelievable following. I think Matthew Tkachuk will follow Mark Giordano, and you talk about a trio of captains. That's pretty impressive.
We always like to mention the first runner-up, number 51 on our list, the guy that just didn't make it, and that's Sean Couturier of the Philadelphia Flyers. He made the list last year, and in the opinion of Mike Johnson, should have been on the list this year.
Not only on the list, but comfortably in the list, inside the top 30 on this list. That's how good Sean Couturier is. Not only the offense, which 2 consecutive years of 30-plus goals, 70-plus points, but by any metric, he is one of the best defensive centermen in the league. So the offense alone is probably enough to warrant consideration for this list. But when you couple that with the fact that he is, if not the best, one of the very best defensive centermen in the league as well, he deserves inclusion. I think is a massive oversight by this group.
By the way, everybody's number 51 on my list. Every time I'm asked by anyone, number 51.
Well, when I'm asked by all the
You're
players,
on my list.
When the players complain, yeah, you're on my list. These guys, I don't know what the heck they're thinking. Couture, by the way, a true Philadelphia 76er, 76 points in each of his last 2 seasons. Now, 3 players saw 9-year streaks on our list come to an end. Anze Kopitar, Nick Backstrom, and Ryan Getzlaf. PK Subban gone after 6 years. Significantly, Patrick Laine, usually the young stars keep rising, he departs after just 1 year. He made my list, but none of you have him back to top 50 for him. I'm not lying. That time he actually was on my list. Pooley, represent the panel and respond why he's not there.
James, you're rated against your peers, you're rated against your teammates, but you're also rated against yourself. And I think in this case, it cost him the most was his own play and how he rates against himself. He set the bar so high. He scores 36 his first year. Then he goes +8 to 44. Then he goes -14 down to 30 with 18 of them in the month of November. He has the biggest bandwidth from a goal scoring standpoint of anyone in the NHL. And the reason he's not signed right now is because they're not quite sure what that bandwidth means. Neither the player nor the team. And I think that's what cost him.
18 goals in 12 November games last year. Incredible. And then 12 in the other 70. He is hard to figure out. I have one last beef. How does Logan Couture not end up on this list? He was 35 on my list. I'm as angry as you were about Couturier. The most productive player in the playoffs the last 4 years, more points per game than even Crosby, and he doesn't make the top 50. It's a travesty. I would walk off the set and protest, but I fear the show would get better and then I'd get fired. We'll move on with our top 50. We have lots more ahead for you, including, well, heck, the last 40. Still to come, 3 unranked players from a year ago and 2 that had major declines find themselves in the top 40.
Pedersen with a wicked one-timer.
And we'll speak with Canucks center and NHL Rookie of the Year, Elias Pettersson. Not saying we're getting tired of the preseason, but yeah, okay, I am saying it. We can't wait for this. The night before the season, our NHL Fantasy Draft special, followed by a full hour-and-a-half season preview show, and then the season begins the next day. Now 40 through 31, and this list is all about money and bling. It features 2 guys who signed massive contracts in the offseason and a couple of guys who won some major hardware, a Calder and a Conn Smythe. Number 40, Morgan Rielly. The Leafs' swift-skating blue liner more than doubled his previous career high in becoming the NHL's only 20-goal scoring defenseman.
The score! Morgan Rielly lets it fly!
Number 39, Drew Doughty. Hockey's most blunt-speaking superstar vows to improve upon a season that saw his plus-minus plunge to second worst in the NHL. Doughty called 2018-19 embarrassing. Number 38, Claude Giroux. The Flyers setup man regularly leads the Flyers in assists, points, and attendance. He has missed only 5 games in 7 seasons. Number 37, Elias Pettersson. The super slick Swede scored 10 goals in his first 10 games and proceeded to break Pavel Bure's Vancouver team record for most points by a first-year player. Pettersson was a landslide Calder Trophy winner. Number 36, Sergei Bobrovsky. A remarkable 7 shutouts down the stretch were critical to Columbus making the playoffs and Bobrovsky earning a 7-year, $70 million free agent contract with Florida. Number 35, Tyler Seguin. Dallas's highest-paid player was labeled an underachiever by his own management last season and has fallen in the TSN rankings for a 3rd straight year. Number 34, Carey Price. The TSN Top 50 list can be a cruel place. After consecutive years placing number 3, number 4, and number 5, Price dropped off the list entirely last year. He makes a triumphant return in 2019. Number 33, Sebastian Aho. An off-season target of the first offer sheet since 2013, Aho will be wearing Carolina's black, white, and red rather than the Canadiens' bleu, blanc, et rouge for the next 5 seasons. Number 32, Blake Wheeler. The Jets captain has recorded consecutive 90-point seasons in his 30s after never having so much as a single 80-point season in his 20s.
Back to Wheeler scores!
Number 31, Ryan O'Reilly. Goals in the final 4 games of the Stanley Cup Final clinched playoff MVP status for the Stanley Cup champion and Selke Trophy winner. We recap 3 players making their top 50 debuts, Aho, Pettersson, and Riley. 2 return, O'Reilly after a 2-year absence, and as mentioned, Carey Price after a 1-year leave, which kind of looks rather bizarre in retrospect. Now, Pooley, Drew Doughty dropped 29 spots from 10 to 39. He's played nearly 1,000 more regular season shifts than any other NHLer during his 11 seasons in the league. Is there enough left in the tank for Doughty to rise back to elite status?
I believe there is, James. He's only 29 years old, and there's a couple of factors here. One, he had so much early individual success, playing the Olympics at age 20, again in 2014. 2 Stanley Cups in 2012, 2014. The Norris actually came a little bit late in 2016, but so much success early, and everything came so well to the LA Kings. The other thing is the success of his team. We talked about those 2 cups. Well, guess what? They've missed the playoffs 3 of the last 5 years, and it gets really, really hard. The mileage is pretty high, but I think there is enough in his tank to get back to an elite status.
I have no question there's a lot in his tank. He's a function of a team that was terrible last year. And Drew Doughty plays every situation and wants to make a difference. He's not interested in just going out on the ice and playing safe and protecting his plus-minus. He wants to make a difference. He called last year an embarrassment because he's so proud. And I would say that it's embarrassing for him to be part of a team that was so bad, and he wants to win in the worst ways. To me, Drew Doughty's a top-end player. No question in my mind he'll return to form if the team gets better.
You guys think alike. You both had him exactly at 34. Now, on 34 on our list, as you saw, was Carey Price. Is he correctly ranked at that spot?
Nope. I mean, I think goalie is the most important position in the league, and I think we're forecasting going forward into this year. I think Carey Price is going to be the best goalie in the year this year, which would make him higher than 34. I had him at 13. If you look at what he did the last 4 months of last year, it was a slow start for sure, as he kind of was fighting some health issues as well, finding his game, but he was really good the last 4 months. Team's going to be good around him. Carey Price, with his puck handling, with his demeanor and his confidence that he gives to that team in Montreal, the fact that he can do it in Montreal, which is no easy task for any goaltender, leads me to believe that he is going to be the best goalie in the NHL and should be way higher than 34.
There wasn't much doubt who was the best rookie in the NHL last year, and you saw him at number 37.
He looks like a kid, but he scores like a vet.
Unbelievable hands and vision. Scores! He's done it again! Pettersson with a wicked one-timer. Pettersson's putting on a show tonight.
They haven't been this excited about a player since Pavel Bure in Vancouver.
And here he is. Elias, a belated congratulations on being named NHL Rookie of the Year, and welcome for the first time to our NHL Top 50 Players list. You worked really hard in the offseason, put on some muscle, and fans noticed, sending out memes comparing you to Captain America. What was the focus of your offseason training?
Well, of course, to get stronger and prepare for next season, but I don't think it's pretty fair to compare me with Captain America. It's not that big of a difference that it was for him.
All right, we have a game for you. Steven Stamkos, for one, can recall almost every detail of every goal he scored in the NHL. Do you remember all of your goals from last year?
Yeah, I do believe so, yeah.
All right, let's put it to the test. First one up, October 29th versus Minnesota.
Yeah, I scored 2 goals. One was a one-timer from the right top of the right circle, and the other one was a breakaway.
Correct. Well done. November 24th versus the LA Kings.
Oh, yeah, LA. That was the game winner. 2-3 away. I stole the pass from their D and shot it low blocker on the right. The goalie was a right-handed goalie. So.
Very well done. Last one for you. March 15th against the New Jersey Devils.
Yeah, that was a power play. I got the puck from Besser. I hadn't scored in a while, so I got the puck, and I was just, I'm going to try to go top corner, and yeah, it went out pretty well.
I lied. This was a trick question. There was one more in that game, wasn't there?
It was. It was a shootout. I did the Forsberg move.
Is that your go-to move?
Well, I don't know what to say when I get those questions. Can't say my moves, but well, it's a move I feel comfortable doing. So it's yeah.
All right, more games. We do this thing we call the quiz, where we ask our panelists hard-hitting questions. I only have one question for you. Which is your favorite primary assist on a Brock Besser goal from last season? The bank pass versus Colorado. Beauty. The no-look pass against Vegas is your second option. And the last one, the spin around the net and cross-ice pass versus Calgary. Which one of those do you like the best?
Let's go the bank pass, because they were comparing me with the Sedins, so I was really happy when
hey,
I got compared to them.
Always a good comparison.
It is.
You saw teammate Thatcher Demko flip the puck high in the air and catch it on his stick blade, and so you decided to one-up him, adding a stick flip to it. Did you actually pull that off somehow on your first attempt?
No, it wasn't my first attempt. I think it was, I'm going to be honest, it was like after 10, 12 tries, I think. But I'm very stubborn, so I'm not quitting.
Listen, best of luck with the start of the season.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, here are Ray Ferraro and Craig Button. They're actually friends, but for this segment, they act like they despise each other for the purpose of dramatic television. We call it Face-Off. Bunch of questions you have to choose. Better rookie defenseman this year, Vancouver's Quinn Hughes or Colorado's Cale Makar. Ray.
Well, I'm back in defending my title again last year after I beat Craig in this segment. I'm going to pick Quinn Hughes. I think Hughes is going to be a dynamic defenseman, and while Makar has the sample size that we saw last year in the playoffs, Hughes will defend well with his feet. He's extremely smart. He's going to play on a power play that I think will be exceptional. I think Quinn Hughes will have a great season.
Like your Boston Red Sox, you won last year. That will not be the case this year. Cale Makar was the Hobey Baker winner, best college player on the planet last season, and he will carry that through into this NHL regular season. Just a glimpse of what he did in the playoffs is enough to convince me that he will be the better rookie.
Best summer showing off, 6'1" Morgan Riley with a rim jam, the pure dunk, or Tyler Seguin and a feat of strength. Which one do you love?
Oh, Morgan Riley for me. I mean, lots of guys can do feats of strength. I mean, I could lift all kinds of weight and I could do anything with it. Dunking a basketball, are you kidding me? The explosiveness and the athleticism, I go with Morgan Riley.
Listen, Tyler Seguin, that was 120 pounds he's doing pull-ups with. And Matt Nickel of BioSteel says that forget about hockey, that's a feat of strength amongst all the best athletes, NFL players, anybody on the planet. So what Tyler Seguin did, not very many can do it.
Now, if Seguin dunked with all those weights on him,
then he would win.
Maybe he'd have something there. Better 38-goal scorer, Mark Scheifele or David Pastrnak?
David Pastrnak for me. Creates his own shot when he doesn't have, not on the receiving end of one of those beautiful Bergeron or Marchand passes. I think he can create with among the best in the league.
Yeah, Mark Scheifele, and this is a close one for me. I could have easily picked Pastrnak. And the only reason I'm going with Mark Scheifele, he's got a better rate of goals per dollar spent than Pastrnak. Not by much, but that was my deciding factor, Ray.
NHL's best coach right now, the guy who's won a Stanley Cup in Barry Trotz, or the runner-up Bruce Cassidy from last year?
Well, I'm going to take Barry Trotz, and the reason so is a couple of reasons. One, you mentioned the Stanley Cup in Washington, but secondly, and maybe the one that put me over the edge here in the decision, is 2 years ago, the New York Islanders gave up the most goals in the National Hockey League. Last year, the fewest. There is many reasons for it. One of them is the coach and the system that he implements, the message that he gets to his players, and that's Barry Trotz.
So I'm going to be very clear. I am with Ray on this, but I picked Bruce Cassidy only to give him some notoriety. What he's done in Boston, taking over for Claude Julien, and really getting them to play a very different style of game with a lot of the same players and doing it very successfully. I think Bruce Cassidy deserves credit amongst the very best coaches in the National Hockey League.
Finally, most importantly, the better or best put down by one of our top 50 players of another player. Austin Matthews looking at Scott Sabourin, the back of his jersey, as if he didn't know the name, or Brad Marchand giving a Canuck the business.
How are you in the show? Brutal. How are you even here? Like 10 guys hurt right now? I mean, he's cruel, but he's funny. Which one do you like, Ray?
Oh, I'm going to go with Brad Marchand. I mean, the fact of the matter is he's running roughshod through an entire five-man core of Vancouver Canucks or whoever happens to be on the other end of it. You can't use the same cut down for different guys. You got to be creative. Marchand's the best at it.
Well, you look at Austin Matthews, though, and he did it without words. It was improv at its best. Just turn the player around, give a look at the nameplate, and who are you? It was quite brilliant. But in all my research, everybody told me that if Ray Ferraro was still playing, he would have won this segment hands down.
Every single year he would have won the little ball of hate. Thank you to Ray Ferraro and Craig Button. This has been Face Off. We'll take a break. Next up, two of the biggest climbers on this year's list will check in.
In comes Rantanen, shoots, scores! Here's Mark Stone, scores!
And in rapid fire, we'll ask if Johnny Gaudreau has anything left to prove, and how many goals should we expect from Mitch Marner after signing that huge deal.
Mikko Rantanen, he continues to just sparkle for the Avalanche.
For Rantanen with a shot, he scores! Rantanen scores! Mikko Rantanen! Mikko Rantanen!
Gentlemen, I think that's a hint that that gentleman might be in our next group of players. First, a warning. This next group may open some wounds for Ottawa Senators fans. I know you've moved on. You have a good crop of young players, but numbers 27 and 26 on this list, I know they're still painful.
Number 30, Seth Jones. John Tortorella's undisputed go-to blue liner combines offensive flair with defensive fortitude, as well as any blue liner in the NHL. Number 29, Jack Eichel. Buffalo's 22-year-old captain blossomed as a playmaker in 2018-19 with 54 assists. Will this be the year he explodes as a goal scorer? Number 28, Mark Giordano. At age 35, the Norris Trophy winner is one of the oldest first-time major award winners in NHL history and the oldest first-time member of this year's top 50 list. Number 27, Mark Stone. Nobody beats the house in Vegas except Mark Stone, who signed a $76 million contract after a trade from Ottawa. He averaged a league-leading nearly 2 points per game in the playoffs. Number 26, Erik Karlsson. The swashbuckling defenseman has seen his goal-scoring rate fall off and his TSN ranking along with it, but San Jose signed him for 8 more years. Number 25, David Pastrnak. Pasta dishes passes as well as he scores goals, making him one of the league's most dynamic players. Does he have 50 goals in him? Number 24, Braden Point. In 3 NHL seasons, the Lightning red light specialist goal scoring rate has grown in leaps and bounds, particularly on the power play. A league-leading 20 goals with the man advantage represented nearly 50% of his 41 overall. Number 23, Mikko Rantanen. The Fab Finn was an honorary 100-point scorer in 18-19, collecting 14 points in the playoffs to go along with 87 during the regular season. That's 101 for the 6'4", 215-pounder. Number 22, Taylor Hall. The 2018 league MVP was forced to take a knee after Christmas last season, and the injury almost single-handedly torpedoed New Jersey's season. Without a healthy Hall, the Devils went from 50th overall 2 years ago to 29th last year. Number 21, Artemi Panarin. 2019's marquee free agent converted point-per-game production in the regular season and playoffs into the second highest average annual contract in the NHL. Panarin's $11.64 million trails only Connor McDavid's $12.5 million.
Mikko Rantanen and Mark Stone among the biggest climbers this year. Rantanen 24 slots, Stone 22. Seth Jones, the only player outside the top 5 on our list to retain exactly the same ranking as in 2018. But Pooley, you believe Seth Jones is going to be anything but stagnant this year.
He is my early favorite for the Norris, James. I have him in my top 4. Right in his wheelhouse, 24 years old, 7th year in the league. I think this is one of the top defensemen in the league.
He might win a Norris. It's just not going to be this year. Of that list, I think it's way more likely Erik Karlsson bounces back, scores more goals, has a monster year, and wins the Norris out of San Jose.
Wow, if one of you is right and wrong, the guy who's wrong will not be invited back on the show next year. We're getting to the elite now, the top 20, beginning with two members of a team that looked absolutely unbeatable during the regular season and then couldn't win a single game in the playoffs.
Number 20, Andrei Vasilevsky. NHL general managers and TSN voters have spoken. The Tampa Tender is the NHL's best goalie. 28 of 31 GMs placed Vasilevsky number 1 on their 2019 Vezina ballots, and he was the definitive choice as number 1 rated goalie in the 2019 TSN poll. Number 19, Steven Stamkos. Tampa's captain regained his premier goal-scoring touch in 18-19, scoring 45 times, his highest total in 7 seasons.
Stamkos off the draw with a shot. He scores!
Number 18, Evgeny Malkin. All eyes will be on Pittsburgh to see how the Penguins' all-world center responds to the end of his love-hate hockey relationship with line mate Phil Kessel, who was jettisoned during the offseason. Number 17, Mark Scheifele. Winnipeg's top center is closing in on 40-goal status, a mark of distinction for middlemen who are true dual threats as scorers and playmakers. Number 16, Johnny Gaudreau. The only thing eluding Calgary's brilliant forward last year was the milestone 100-point mark. He was stopped at the precipice, 99, by 99's old team, Edmonton, in Game 82. Number 15, Mitch Marner. Toronto's most used and most spectacular forward, leads all current Leafs in games, assists, points, and power play points since joining the team in 2016. Number 14, Patrice Bergeron. Mr. Perfect had the best statistical season of his career at age 33 and finished as a finalist in Selke Trophy voting for an unprecedented 5th straight season. Number 13, Brent Burns. The San Jose Shark, who defies description on and off the ice, has finished first or second in points by defensemen 5 straight NHL seasons. Number 12, John Tavares. Toronto native Tavares signed an $11 million a year contract with his hometown team and impossibly lived up to it with a career-high 47 goals. Number 11, Leon Draisaitl. German hockey's pride and joy parlayed a league-high 21.6 shooting percentage into one of only 2 50-goal seasons in the NHL last year.
Here's your review. Mitch Marner has rocketed up the rankings, going from number 45 last year to number 15. That's the biggest jump of any returnee on our list. And Russian goalie Vasilevsky, a really nice fit at number 20 because that's Hall of Famer Vladislav Tretiak's sweater number, who in North America is regarded as the greatest Russian goalie ever. Gentlemen, it's time for Rapid Fire. Rapid Fire, by the way, the most overused segment name in television history. But we're going with it anyway because we're out of ideas. Does Johnny Gaudreau have anything left to prove for you, Craig?
Yes, he does, and it's all about the playoffs. You can have all the success you want and all the productivity in the regular season. Johnny Gaudreau has to now show it and prove it come playoff time because he hasn't done it to this point in his career.
Johnny Gaudreau, we look for a big season from him. And in Toronto, they look for a huge one from Mitch Marner. It would be an increase of only 4 goals, but do you need to see 30 goals from Marner to go along with all those primary assists now that he's earning $10.9 million per season?
4 goals, that's like 11 or 12% more goals that he scored. I absolutely need to see more goals out of him because I think the primary assist rate will fall, so the goals have to climb for him to get to the same levels. And yes, it pains me to say it's from a guy who got assists. You get paid to score goals, not just to pass and set them up. So I think to get to 30 at a minimum, which he's capable of doing, is what he has to do.
Which player is more likely to live up to his contract this season? Perennial top 50 member and $11.5 million defenseman Erik Karlsson, MJ's Norris pick, or future 50 member and $8 million a year defenseman Thomas Chabot?
Erik Karlsson will this year, still 29 years old, and he will bounce back in a big way for a very good San Jose team. Quietly, 45 points in 53 games last year, 16 points in 19 playoff games. Etched in my mind forever are the playoffs of 16-17 when he literally carried that Ottawa Senators team within a goal of the Stanley Cup Finals.
Ben Bishop, the only one of 12 players named to the first or second All-Star team who did not get in the top 50. Do the voters owe him an apology, MJ?
Yes, they do. Make it sincere. Individual statistics for goalie. Highest save percentage last year, Ben Bishop. Well, they have a good defense. Highest high danger save percentage in the league last year. Ben Bishop. Highest goal save above average per start. Ben Bishop. What more do you need to do to get on the top 50 than be the best at the most important position? He was that. He belongs on this list. So does John Gibson, for that matter.
How many players did you have in your top 50?
I had all those guys on, so did MJ.
Yeah.
We apologize on behalf of the rest of the voters. We don't know what they were thinking. Who is more likely to be on next year's top 50 list, Jack Hughes or Capo Caco?
Capo Caco. Jack Hughes is going to be the better player in time. It might not be by a wide margin, but Capo Caco is more physically mature. He's already had success playing in the SM Liga in Finland. He's got a good support around him, and to me, he's going to have a really good Rookie of the Year. If you're asking me who the Rookie of the Year candidates are, it's him and Cale Makar.
Jordan Binnington, second in Calder and Conn Smythe Trophy voting last year, not among our top 50 players. How highly ranked do you see him finishing the season among goalies only, Pooley?
I have him in my top 5 goalies, and as much because of the age gap that exists, I think the age gap is perfect for him to step in. There's a lot of goalies in their 30-somethings. This guy led in 32 games the league in goals against average. He was tied for 4th in save percentage, and he's playing for a really good St. Louis team that was tied for 5th in goals against last year. It's not like he's playing for one of the lesser teams. He's playing for the defending Stanley Cup champions.
He's so magical. I thought I heard bells ringing while we were speaking of him right now. And he also wore shades to the ESPYs. You have to love a guy with that kind of confidence. We have more ahead on our show here as we get down to the top of the top 50. We finally hit our top 10.
Walks right in, shoots, scores! Austin Matthews. Kucherov roars in, he scores! Crosby, what a play!
We unveil the best players in the league next.
From number 8. They score! What a goal! Nikita Kucherov! Score! What a shot by Marchand! Here comes Hedman. He scores! What a brilliant goal by Nathan McKinnon! Who else but Patrick Kane? Crosby again scores! Sidney Crosby! Did you just do that, Alexander Barkov? What a goal by Connor McDavid. Oh, my goodness.
It's hard to create real drama on the show because once we get to the top 10, you know all the names. They're just all so good. It's nothing but superstars left on this list. Let's start with 10 through 5.
Number 10, Alexander Barkov. The reigning Lady Byng winner is only the 6th player in NHL history to earn at least 95 points and fewer than 10 penalty minutes in the same season.
Barkov between the legs, unbelievable!
Number 9, Victor Hedman. Tampa Bay's superior blue liner is closing in on one of hockey's greatest labels, perennial all-star. Hedman is the only defenseman to earn a berth on the first or second all-star team the last 3 seasons. Number 8, Brad Marchand. Boston's Hart Trophy candidate came within 2 minors of being the rare 100-point, 100 penalty minute player. Pims aside, he is the league's ultimate positive influence, racking up a league-leading plus 199 since 2010. Number 7, Alex Ovechkin. The Grade 8 has 8 NHL scoring crowns, 8 50-goal seasons, and 8 selections to the first All-Star team over a legendary career. The 34-year-old Ovechkin starts the season more than 200 goals behind all-time leader Wayne Gretzky. The odds don't favor Ovi. Bet against him at your own peril. Number 6, Austin Matthews. Toronto's shooting star, who is on an 82-goal pace 16 games into the season, has set playing a full 82-game season for the first time in his career as his primary objective in 2019-20.
Now it's fed back across, score! Austin Matthews!
Number 5, Patrick Kane. Chicago history awaits the brilliant winger. He is 62 points shy of joining Hall of Famers Stan Mikita, Bobby Hull, and Dennis Savard as the only players to score 1,000 points as Blackhawks.
Over to Kane! The Hawks win!
So now just 4 players left, and we know you're all smart hockey fans. You know exactly who they are. In fact, for the first time in our 10-year history, I'm not going to go all Ryan Seacrest and make you sit through commercials to find out who is number 1, because you know who is number 1. It's Connor McDavid for the 3rd straight year. In fact, the bigger question, the only real drama we have here, is who is number 2. Now, before we reveal them, let me ask the guys, because we have 3 candidates. They're Crosby, Kucherov, and Nate McKinnon. Before we reveal the consensus choices, your choice, Craig Button.
Sidney Crosby. And 100 points last year. If you want to compare him to a fine wine, he's a 100-point wine that just keeps getting better with age. And considering the fact that he was a strong consideration as a Selke Trophy winner last year, speaks to him expanding his game. He's still a prolific, productive player, better scoring rates at 31 than he had in previous few years. So to me, Sidney Crosby still stands as number 2.
You know what wine I like to drink? The 128-point wine of Nikita Kucherov, because I think you're talking about who's going to be the best this year. Nobody in the last couple of years has been a better offensive player than Kucherov, except for maybe McDavid, if he were to be able to be healthy and maybe on a better team. But 128 points. He still scores lots of goals, over 40 the last couple of years. Well, it's not all in the power play. Even though he leads the league in power play points the last couple of years, he's still second in even strength points, only behind McDavid. If it's about offense and creativity and game-changing skill, nobody has more of it than Nikita Kucherov. And he is hyper-competitive. I don't think he will sit and rest on his laurels of the season, and he'll be pushed by the disappointing playoff performance by Tampa to be even better this year.
As challenging as this list was to do, I think I spent more time on the top 4. Trying to get through exactly what this was. And it was really tough. But for me, it is Nikita Kucherov. And I almost think he's penalized by playing on as good a team as he does with Stamkos, with Braden Point. But this is a special player. And 3 numbers stand out to me. And these are his incremental increases over the last 3 years. Plus 19 points, plus 15 points. Last year, plus 28 points.
Wow.
From his 100-point season. He keeps getting better.
By the way, I had McKinnon at number 2, so we have votes for all 3 of those guys from the 4 of us on the panel. That's how close it actually was. Let's see how the order finished.
Number 4, Nathan McKinnon. As good as the Colorado force of nature has been in the regular season, he has been better in the playoffs, compiling an 8-game point streak in 2019 and extinguishing the Flames virtually by himself. He has 29 points in 25 career playoff games and is coming off a career-high 99-point regular season. Number 3, Nikita Kucherov. The Bolt of Lightning from Tampa Bay was awarded winner of both the Ted Lindsay Award and Hart Trophy after accumulating 128 points, most ever by a Russian-born player and most by a player of any nationality since 1995-96. Fun fact about his 87 assists. Each of the other 15 players in NHL history who earn at least that many helpers is in the Hall of Fame or headed there. Number 2, Sidney Crosby.
Crosby again, scores! Sidney Crosby!
For most of his career, Crosby has been regarded as second to none. But suddenly it seems he is second to everyone. Just kidding. But over the past 7 seasons, he's been voted NHL MVP once and placed second to Ovechkin, Kane, McDavid, and Kucherov. And for a 3rd straight season, he is second to McDavid on the TSN Top 50 list. Number 2 has never looked so good. Number 1, Connor McDavid.
McDavid cutting in, and what a goal by Connor McDavid! Oh my goodness!
Stats have never adequately captured the enormity of McDavid's game. They are footnotes to his foot speed and fabulous skill set. But the Oilers quietly did something in 2018-19, accomplished by only 4 other players in NHL history. McDavid earned points on more than half of his team's total goals in games that he played, 116 points on 222 Oiler goals, meaning McDavid was in on 52% of team goals in his 79 games. That puts him in the company of Mario Lemieux, Teemu Selanne, Jaromir Jagr, and Wayne Gretzky as the only players who surpassed the 50% mark in a single season. A fitting statistical achievement for the number 1 player on the TSN Top 50 list.
So here is your entire top 10 with McDavid on top again. Only once in the 10-year history of our top 5 has the number 1 earned 100% of the number 1 vote. Sidney Crosby in 2016, the last of his 7 straight years topping the poll. Now, McDavid's share of number 1 votes is rising, going from 55% to 89% to 91% this season. 3 voters did not have McDavid number 1. 2 chose Kucherov, 1 chose McKinnon, and yet Crosby gets 2nd overall without getting any number 1 votes. He's been 1st or 2nd, Sidney Crosby has, all 10 years of this poll.
What a goal by Connor McDavid. Oh, my goodness.
Time to talk to number 1. Next up, we'll speak with Connor McDavid on his ranking, his health, and the upcoming season.
He is the most dynamic player in the National Hockey League.
McDavid cutting in, and what a goal by Connor McDavid. Oh, my goodness.
He has skills that nobody else has ever had.
He shows why he's so great, that acceleration. He's just moving at a different rate of speed than everybody else.
Connor McDavid, you couldn't score a goal faster.
McDavid cutting for the net, up there, far down, goal.
Here he is, Connor. Congratulations on being number 1 on our top 50 list for a 3rd straight year. We know you don't love talking about yourself, so I'll ask you this. If you had a vote, who would be number 1 on your list?
You know, I've always kind of said all along, I think Sid's the number 1 guy. He's won it all. You know, individual awards he's got, all team awards he's got. He continues to dominate, and I just have so much respect for him and his game.
Your teammate, line mate, Leon Draisaitl is number 11. Is that high enough?
No, he should have been in the top 10 for sure, maybe even top 5. He's someone that is a real special player. I think around the league he's got a lot of respect. He does all those little things that, you know, maybe don't get noticed from the stands or from the press box, but on the ice you definitely notice them. So, like I said, he's a real special player, and you know, I'm very lucky to play with him.
Well, the two of you assisted on one another's goals, a league high 52 times last season. You may have answered this a bit, but what impresses you most about his skill set?
For me, it's his shot. You know, he's just the ability to get it on and off his tape in a heartbeat. His one-timer, I don't think gets enough credit. You know, he uses that weird stick, that you know, real long paddle, and he's good on his backhand. He's just a real smart player, shoots the puck well, does everything real well.
I know making the playoffs are priorities 1 through 99 for you, but have you thought about 50 goals at all?
I haven't put much thought into it this summer. I mean, obviously that's a number I would like to achieve one day. You know, this summer was pretty focused on the rehab and that type of stuff, so I didn't have much time to think about other stuff. But of course, that'd be a number I'd like to get to one day, and I'll work towards that. But like you said, playoffs are #1 priority. That's all that matters.
You scored some of the NHL's best goals last season, but we're going to focus on one that was not the prettiest, but got the biggest smile out of you against the Sabres. You're almost tripped up at the...
Barely made it up the ice. Barely got a shot on goal, but I was lucky enough for it to go in.
So they have chirped you about this?
Oh, of course. You know, I just, back on the benches, it's pretty funny.
Listen, we know you're sick of talking about your knee, but I'm contractually obligated to ask you, how are you feeling right before the season starts?
Feel good.
I figured that's about what we get. That's good to hear. We're going to show everybody a snippet of your brand new commercial.
Just let me tell you about the new hybrid kick post that we sold. We designed this by using your shooting data. For your combination of speed and power, so you can
shoot from everywhere? Yep, sounds good.
So the question is, your shots were down last season. Are you going to shoot from everywhere this season?
I'll shoot when it's the right time. That's a commercial, and you're supposed to say the line, but you know, I pride myself on being a smart player, and if the shot's there, I'll take it. If the pass is there, I'll take it. But you know, it's important to shoot the puck as much as possible, and you know, when you do, good things usually happen. So definitely focus on that.
I have so many questions from this commercial. We don't have time for them all. A typewriter? I mean, who uses typewriters? Had you even seen a typewriter before? And you have good hands, but can you type with gloves on?
It was, I was not typing much. That made sense, that's for sure. It was definitely a little difficult and hard to work. I'd never worked one before, so made for a good commercial, I guess.
Connor, best of luck with the start of the season. Thanks for this.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We finally found a skill McDavid doesn't have. He can't type with gloves on. Seriously, does anyone under 25? They've never seen
what
it.
Is that
what
thing?
is that thing that makes those funny noises? All four of us had McDavid at number 1, but is there possibly another level he can reach?
It feels like it. I mean, it feels likely that there are several more steps that he can take to become an even more dominant, an even better offensive player, which seems absurd to say because he's almost a consensus best player in the world already for what he does offensively. And yet, if he wanted to, you think he could go get 50 goals. If he wanted to, he could probably win the Rocket Richard. He has that kind of game. It just feels like he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. He's been amazing every single year, but he's not had one of those crazy years where he goes on a 30 or 40 point game point streak, which he absolutely could, and he might have to right now for Edmonton for them to be successful.
No player in the league generates more quality chances of his own doing than Connor McDavid. I really believe that Connor McDavid, with some help around him, Kenny Holland, I hope you're watching. That's your mandate up there. But for Connor McDavid, I think he could become the first 2 points per game player since Mario Lemieux back in the 90s. I think he's that good. I think that's what his potential is.
Well, I was there for a lot of those 2-point games by Mario Lemieux. I was on the ice for a lot of them, and I watched the team around him get better. Right. But one number stands out to me, and that's 22. He is 22 years old. I think of physical strength. I think of learning your own body, the willingness to try things, and how, as he grows, it's just going to get better and better and better. I think the upside for this guy is tremendous.
And I think the fact that he has Draisaitl, he has a running mate who is not as good as him, but a great player of his own right to work with, really important.
The question is going to be, are we going to be deprived of McDavid in the playoffs in another spring? And that's a big question mark right now. By the way, Tampa Bay leads in top 50 representation. 5 players on the list. The Leafs and Flames are tied for second with 4 each. The Leafs have 3 of the top 15, Matthews, Tavares, and Marner. But McDavid is on top again. Don't forget, next Tuesday, NHL Fantasy Draft Special, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, and then our NHL Season Preview Show at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And one last time, to all the upset players and all the angry fans, the guy you're mad about that wasn't on the list or was too low, I agree. I had him exactly where you think he should be, and I don't know what the other guys were thinking. Thanks for watching.